He broke me down in front of everyone. Years later, I stood before him with everything he ever wanted and chose forgiveness instead of revenge. Before we dive and subscribe to Vault of Tales, where we share stories that heal our souls, awaken empathy, and remind us that no pain is ever wasted. Let's begin. He laughed first, and when he did, the whole room followed, like a ripple spreading across still water, shattering the calm I had built over a decade. That sound, that laughter, it wasn't just noise. It was the echo of every insecurity I'd buried, every sleepless night I'd spent replaying memories that refused to fade. It was the 10-year reunion of Crestwood High, and I had walked straight into my past without armor. The ballroom glowed gold, chandeliers dripping with crystal light, glasses clinking, music from another time weaving through the air. I stood near the back, clutching a drink I hadn't tasted, watching people who once defined my entire world now pretending adulthood had made them kind. I wasn't supposed to come. Reunions weren't my thing. Too much pretending. Too many ghosts in one room. But a small voice inside whispered that maybe, just maybe, I needed this. Not for them. For me. To prove that the boy they broke wasn't gone. He had just evolved. So I came, wearing confidence like a new skin. Tailored black suit, quiet smile, success humming beneath the surface. My company had just been featured in Forbes under 35. I'd built something real, a tech startup that was growing faster than I ever imagined. But none of that mattered the moment I heard that laugh. Blake Carter. Some names don't fade. They stay carved into your memory like scars that never fully heal. He was standing across the room, tall, charming, still carrying that effortless confidence that made everyone gravitate toward him. Same smooth voice, same perfect smile. And beside him, the same people who once laughed when I stumbled over words or dropped my lunch tray. I felt my heart tighten, my throat dry up. For a second, I was 16 again, glasses slipping down my nose, hands trembling as I tried to hide the stutter that always betrayed me. I almost turned around and left. But then I thought, no, not this time. I didn't come this far to run again. He spotted me. Eli Thompson? No way, he shouted, loud enough for everyone to hear. Heads turned. Laughter followed, just like before. He walked over, grin wide, holding his drink like a trophy. Man, look at you. You still fixing computers in your mom's basement. The group around him chuckled. The same cruel music I'd grown up with. I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because I knew something he didn't. No, I said quietly. I moved out of that basement a long time ago. But Blake didn't stop. He never knew how. Come on, I'm just kidding, he said, smirking. We all knew you'd make it big with those computers. Probably hacking satellites or something. More laughter. I took a sip of my drink, my pulse steady now. The sting was gone. All I felt was distance, like watching a storm from behind glass. He leaned in closer, voice lowering, that mocking glint still alive in his eyes. You know, some people never change, Eli. Still quiet. Still the same awkward kid underneath that fancy suit. I looked at him, really looked, and realized something. He hadn't changed either. He just grew older, not wiser. I let him have his moment. Let him laugh because the truth was he needed that laughter more than I did. He needed to feel above someone again. And for the first time in my life, I understood why. People like Blake thrive on comparison. Without someone beneath them, they fall apart. So I gave him his stage. I didn't fight back, didn't defend myself. I simply smiled. And when he turned away to entertain another group, I whispered under my breath, "Enjoy the show while it lasts, Blake." The curtain's about to fall. Later that night, as the reunion wound down and the crowd thinned, I stepped outside onto the balcony. The night air was cool, brushing against my face. The city stretched beneath me, alive, endless. My reflection stared back from the glass doors. Same eyes, different man. That's when the memories came rushing back, like waves hitting the shore. High school, the humiliation, the endless days of trying to disappear, the cruel jokes written on my locker, the nickname he gave me that stuck for years, Eli the Error. I remembered standing in the hallway once, clutching my books so tight my fingers went numb as Blake's voice echoed behind me. "Watch out, guys, the human glitch is coming." Laughter followed, bouncing off the lockers, each echo carving into me like a knife. That boy, the one who walked home with tears he never showed anyone, died a long time ago. But standing there on that balcony, I realized something else. Maybe that boy didn't die. Maybe he evolved into the man who would teach Blake what true power looked like. Inside, someone called my name, an old friend maybe, but my thoughts were far away. I left early, stepping into the quiet night, my car headlights cutting through the dark. As I drove, I felt something inside me shift. Not anger, not revenge, but a kind of clarity. I didn't want to humiliate him. I wanted to understand him. Because when someone breaks you, and you rise anyway, that's not just victory. That's transformation. I didn't know it yet, but fate was already writing the next chapter. And when Blake Carter would walk into my office weeks later, needing my help, the universe would finally balance the scales. But that night, standing beneath a quiet sky, I only knew one thing. The past had come knocking, and this time, I was ready to answer. 2 weeks passed. The laughter from that night had faded, but the feeling lingered, not as pain, but as a pulse. A quiet reminder that the universe never forgets balance. I had moved on, or so I told myself. Work had a way of silencing ghosts. My days were filled with numbers, code, and coffee. Nights with boardrooms lit by city glow. But on an ordinary Thursday morning, while sifting through partnership requests, one subject line stopped me cold. Proposal, Carter Innovations, partnership opportunity. I frowned. Carter, it couldn't be. I opened it. The email was polite, almost desperate. A mid-sized tech firm looking for funding, claiming to have a prototype that could revolutionize secure cloud systems. I skimmed down to the signature. Blake Carter, CEO, Carter Innovations. I leaned back in my chair, the irony pressing against my chest like a heartbeat. The same man who once called me Eli the Error, now asking for help, for funding, for validation. I stared at the screen for a long time, torn between laughter and disbelief. The world had a wicked sense of humor. I didn't respond immediately. I let the message sit, like a test from the universe. Every part of me wanted to hit delete, to erase him as easily as he'd once erased my dignity. But something deeper whispered, wait. So I did. 3 days later, I wrote back, short, professional, detached. Dear Mr. Carter, thank you for reaching out. We'd be interested in discussing your proposal. Let's schedule a meeting this Friday at 11 a.m. Regards, Eli Thompson, CEO, Thompson Dynamics. I hit send and smiled. Friday came dressed in sunlight. Our office shimmered with glass and steel, clean, quiet, the kind of space that speaks before you do. At 10:57, my assistant buzzed me. Your 11 o'clock is here, Mr. Thompson. Send him in, I said. My heart was steady, not racing. Strange how peace can feel like power. Through the glass door, he entered. Blake Carter, older, edges dulled, carrying a leather folder and the weight of invisible years. He didn't recognize me. Not yet. He smiled that same practice smile. Mr. Thompson, thank you for seeing me. I shook his hand. Of course. Have a seat. He sat, posture straight but nervous. The confident boy from Crestwood was gone. In his place sat a man built from the rubble of too many mistakes. He began talking, pitching his idea with rehearsed enthusiasm. I listened, not to his product, but to his voice. It trembled slightly when he mentioned financial setbacks and personal losses. The mask cracked with every sentence. When he finally paused, I leaned forward. How long have you been running Carter Innovations? Almost 5 years, he said, rubbing his temples. It started strong, but the market changed. Investors pulled out. He hesitated. We're barely holding on. There was vulnerability, the thing he once mocked me for showing. I studied him. He looked thinner, eyes ringed with exhaustion. The charm that once made everyone laugh now seemed tired. He had fallen, and maybe, just maybe, life had given him a taste of humility. As he talked, something in me softened. Revenge didn't feel as sweet as I thought it would. When he finished, I stood and walked to the window. The city stretched wide, endless. For a moment, I saw our reflections in the glass. Two men separated by a decade of choices. He broke the silence. "You've been quiet," he said cautiously. "What do you think?" I turned slowly. "It's interesting." He nodded, eager. "We just need capital to finish development. If we get a chance to." He stopped mid-sentence. His eyes narrowed. "Wait," he whispered. "Eli." His voice cracked. I smiled slightly. "Good memory." Silence filled the room. Thick, heavy, electric. He stood up, eyes wide, color draining from his face. "You're Eli Thompson?" "Yes." "The Eli Thompson." I laughed softly. "I'm not sure how many of us you know." He stared, speechless. His mouth opened, closed, then opened again, searching for words that refused to come. Finally, he said, almost to himself, "You own this company?" "Every inch," I said. He sat back down slowly, disbelief painted across his face. The silence stretched until it became a language of its own. I expected to feel triumph. That glorious surge of "I told you so." But instead, what I felt was heavier, deeper, a strange mixture of sadness and closure. He looked up, eyes filled with something I had never seen in them before. Regret. "Eli," he said quietly, "I don't know what to say." "You already said enough," I replied, voice calm. "Back then," he lowered his gaze, "I was a different person." "No," I said, "you were exactly who you were. You just finally met the consequences." The words weren't cruel, they were truth. He nodded slowly. "Fair enough." A knock at the door broke the tension. My assistant entered with 2 coffees. I gestured for her to set them down. Blake reached for his cup, hands shaking slightly. He took a sip, then met my eyes. "I was awful to you. You didn't deserve that." For a long time, I said nothing. Apologies are fragile things. They break if handled too soon. Then I spoke. "Tell me something, Blake." "Why me?" "Back then. Why the need to humiliate me?" He exhaled. "I don't know. Maybe because you were everything I wasn't. Smart. Focused." I hid my insecurity behind laughter. I thought if people laughed with me, they wouldn't see how lost I was. The honesty in his voice disarmed me. For the first time, I saw him, not as the bully, but as a boy who never learned kindness. I leaned back, studying him. "So, what exactly do you want from me now?" He hesitated. A chance to rebuild, to prove I've changed." His voice cracked on the word changed. I looked at the man who once ruled my nightmares and realized how small those nightmares had become. "I'll think about it," I said finally. "Our team will review your proposal." He nodded, standing slowly. "Thank you." At the door, he turned. "For what it's worth, Eli, I'm proud of you. You made it." I didn't respond. I just watched him leave. After he was gone, I stood at the window again. The skyline shimmered, each light a story of someone who'd fallen and risen again. In that moment, I understood something powerful. Sometimes life brings people back not so you can hurt them, but so you can see how much you've healed. The next week, my board debated the proposal. They saw it as a poor investment, too risky, too unstable. But I saw something they didn't. An opportunity not for profit, but for redemption. So I made the call. "Approve it," I told my assistant. "Let's bring Carter Innovations under us." She blinked. "As an acquisition?" "No," I said. "As a partnership." She looked confused. "He's the guy who—" "I know who he is," I interrupted softly. "And maybe this is exactly why we should do it." When she left, I sat alone for a long while, staring at the contract. Revenge is easy. Grace, that's the real challenge. That night, I drove home with the windows down, city air cool against my face. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the kid who was laughed at. I felt like the man who could finally decide what kind of ending his story would have. And maybe, just maybe, this new chapter wasn't about revenge at all. It was about rewriting the definition of strength. A month passed. You'd think time would dull the sharp edges of memory, but sometimes it only sharpens them. Every meeting with Blake felt like standing between 2 mirrors. My reflection in one, his in the other. Each of us facing who we used to be, unable to look away. After the partnership deal was signed, he began spending more time at my headquarters. He was quieter now, always early, always careful. He didn't laugh the way he used to. His confidence had become a whisper rather than a roar. Sometimes when he thought no one was watching, I caught him staring at the walls, at the company values written in silver letters. Integrity, redemption, human first. He once mocked people for words like that. Now, he seemed to cling to them. One night, it was just the two of us, working late on the second-floor conference room, the city outside painted in streaks of amber and gray. He rubbed his eyes, leaned back, and said quietly, "You've built something incredible here, Eli." I didn't answer right away. The air was heavy with something unsaid. He continued, voice low, I used to think people like you just got lucky. Turns out, you just never gave up." He smiled faintly, self-deprecating. "Guess that's the difference between us." I set down my pen. "We both had different starting lines, Blake. The difference is what you do after the race begins." He nodded, gaze distant. "I remember that kid," he said suddenly. "The one everyone picked on. You never looked angry. Just tired. Like you were carrying the world alone." I said simply. He stared at me, guilt etched deep in the lines around his eyes. "I don't expect forgiveness," he said. "I just want to be better than I was." His words hit me harder than I expected. Not because they were perfect, but because they were true. The next few weeks turned into quiet repetition. Meetings, drafts, product reviews. He worked hard, harder than most of my team. He listened, learned, stayed late. Once, I saw him helping one of the interns fix a code issue. He laughed. Not the old laugh, the cruel one, but something softer, human. And for a second, I saw what he could have been all along if he hadn't needed to hide behind arrogance. But healing isn't linear. Some wounds only bleed when touched. One evening, we were walking out of the building together when we ran into two investors in the lobby. They recognized him instantly. "Blake Carter," one of them said with a smirk. "Didn't think we'd see you again after that disaster last year." I watched Blake freeze. His shoulders stiffened, his eyes darted toward the floor. The man laughed. "Man, you really fell hard, didn't you? What's it like working under someone now?" That old silence, the same silence that used to surround me in high school, filled the space again. But this time I stepped forward. "Actually," I said calmly, "he's not working under me. He's working with me. We're partners." Their smirk faltered. "Oh, I didn't realize." "You didn't need to," I said, walking past them. "People change. At least some do." When we reached the elevator, Blake's eyes glistened. "Thank you," he whispered. I shrugged. "Don't thank me. Just prove them wrong." The weeks rolled on. We presented our joint project at smaller conferences, tested prototypes, refined our product. The tension that once existed between us began to dissolve into something quieter, respect. But inside me, a storm still brewed. Forgiveness is never a single decision. It's 1,000 small ones, made over and over. One night, I was locking up when I found Blake still at his desk. The office was dark except for the glow of his monitor. "You should go home," I said. He chuckled softly. "Home's just a place. This feels more like where I belong." I leaned against the doorframe. "You're working yourself to death." He looked up, and for the first time, I saw something raw in his eyes, a kind of sorrow that can't be faked. "Maybe I owe it," he said quietly. "All those years I spent tearing people down. Maybe this is how I make it right." There was nothing I could say to that. Some debts can't be repaid. They can only be redeemed through the life that follows. Weeks later, my company was invited to a global tech exhibition, an event that could change everything. I asked Blake to join me on stage to co-present our innovation. He hesitated. "You sure about that?" "I am," I said. "It's your idea too." He nodded, but I could see the fear flicker behind his smile. The night of the presentation, the hall was vast. Thousands of faces, cameras flashing, the low hum of anticipation filling the air. Backstage, Blake paced, his hands shaking. "I don't think I can do this," he muttered. I turned to him. "You humiliated me once, remember?" He froze. "Tonight," I said softly, "you're going to rewrite that story. Not by proving something to them, but by proving something to yourself." He met my eyes, tears welling. "Why are you helping me, Eli? After everything I did?" I smiled faintly. "Because someone has to break the cycle. And maybe that someone's me." When we walked out on stage together, the audience erupted in applause. To them, we were innovators. To us, it was redemption disguised as technology. Blake spoke first, voice trembling, but steadying with each word. He told the story of failure, of lessons learned, of the importance of empathy in leadership. He didn't hide his past, he acknowledged it. "I used to think success meant being above others," he said into the microphone. "Now I know it means standing with them." The crowd applauded. I joined him on stage, presenting our project, a cloud system built on the principle of trust and human connection. It wasn't just software, it was symbolism. When the presentation ended, the audience rose in a standing ovation. Blake stood beside me, tears glistening in the lights. He leaned closer and whispered, "You saved my life, Eli." I shook my head. "You saved your own. I just stopped standing in your way." After the event, we walked out into the night. The same city skyline stretched before us. The air smelled of rain, electric and alive. He turned to me. "You know," he said, "the night of the reunion, I laughed because I didn't know how to face what I'd done. You were everything I wasn't brave enough to be." I looked at him, the old ache gone. "You don't owe me an apology anymore, Blake. Just live better than you did." He smiled faintly. "That's the plan." As we parted ways that night, I realized something profound. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, it redeems it. It's not about pretending the pain never happened. It's about choosing to no longer let it define you. Blake had been my tormentor once. Now, he was a mirror, reflecting back the parts of me I'd fought to heal. And somewhere in that reflection, I found peace. It's strange how time has a way of softening even the hardest truths. 3 years had passed since that night on the conference stage. Blake and I went our separate ways not out of anger, but out of growth. He started a small mentorship foundation, teaching young entrepreneurs not just how to build companies, but how to build character. He'd send updates, sometimes pictures of him with groups of wide-eyed interns, handwritten letters about hope, struggle, and starting over. I kept every one of them. Then one afternoon I got a call. It was his assistant. Her voice was shaking. "Mr. Eli, I'm sorry. Blake passed away last night." The words hit me like a gust of cold wind. I couldn't speak. She continued, "He'd been sick for a while. He didn't tell many people. He wanted to keep working till the end." I hung up and just sat there in silence. The city outside went on living, unaware that someone who once defined a chapter of my life was gone. A week later, I received an envelope in the mail. No sender's name, just my own written in his handwriting. Inside was a folded letter and a photo of us from the tech exhibition, both smiling under bright lights. The letter read, "Eli, I don't have much time left, but I needed to say this. You were the one person I never thought would forgive me, and the one person who taught me what forgiveness really means. You could have destroyed me that night at the reunion, but instead, you showed me mercy. That changed my life. I spent my last years trying to be the man I should have been when we were young. I don't know if I made it all right, but I know this. Every person I've helped since was because of what you did. Thank you for showing me grace when I deserved nothing but shame. If I could do it all over again, I would have stood beside you, not against you." Blake. I didn't realize I was crying until I saw the tear stains on the paper. A few months later, I was invited to speak at an award event. Ironically, it was the same kind of reunion where this story began. But this time, I wasn't the outsider. I was the keynote speaker. When I stepped up to the microphone, I looked around the room. Faces older now, wiser maybe, but still tinted with the same flicker of memory. I began softly. Years ago, I walked into a reunion feeling like the smallest person in the world. I left humiliated, not because I failed, but because I forgot my own worth. But life has a way of circling back. The audience was silent. You could hear the air move. There was someone in this room once who taught me a painful lesson. He broke me down to dust, but that dust became the foundation of who I am today. And years later, when fate gave me the chance to humiliate him back, I chose not to. I chose to forgive. I paused, and that choice changed both of us. Later, as I stepped off stage, a woman approached me, tears in her eyes. "I knew Blake," she said. "He told me about you. He said you were the best man he ever met." Her words nearly undid me. She smiled softly. "He left something for you." She handed me a small box. Inside was a silver keychain engraved with the words, "Grace wins." I didn't need to ask why. I already knew. Months turned into years, and life moved forward. My company grew beyond what I ever imagined, not just in numbers, but in soul. Every time I hired someone new, I made sure to remind them, we rise by lifting others. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection in the glass walls of the office. Older, calmer, carrying a peace I once thought I'd never have. And in that reflection, I'd sometimes imagine Blake standing there, smiling, nodding proud. People often ask me what really shocked everyone about what happened that night at the reunion. They expect me to say it was the success, the money, the reversal of fate. But no, that wasn't it. What truly shocked everyone was how mercy triumphed over pride, how kindness could disarm cruelty, how the boy who was humiliated learned that real victory doesn't come from revenge, it comes from release. Because the truth is, the most powerful moment in my life wasn't when I stood above the man who once broke me. It was when I realized I no longer needed to. Forgiveness doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't make you forget. It makes you free. And maybe that's the lesson hidden beneath every heartbreak, every betrayal, every wound we carry. We are not what others did to us. We are what we choose to become after. So if you're listening to this and you're holding on to anger, hurt, or shame, maybe this is your sign to let it go. Not for them, but for you. Because peace isn't something you find. It's something you choose. And sometimes the greatest comeback story isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you've healed. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that pain doesn't define us. It refines us. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever faced someone who once hurt you? What did you choose to do? And if you'd like more stories that heal the soul, subscribe to Vault of Tales, where every story is a mirror of the human heart.